Hey everybody, how's it going? I want to make sure we are timely. Um, Kaplan Groups course. That's kind of what I was doing. KAPLANGROUPS. Videos. Hi, I'm in class. How you doing?
Oh, hello.
Yeah, I'm in class. How's it going?
Oh, it's going. I don't know if you looked that house up. Isn't that insanity?
So, what was the insanity? I did look at.
I just can't believe the condo. It's a two-bedroom, like two-bath condo over there in
Right. They're
5,000.
they're all.
Condo.
I know what you're talking about. Right. I had been looking at those groups. Yeah.
Nice.
It may or may not sell.
No, they close on the 15th. They're moving to Florida.
Oh, they sold theirs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're moving to Florida, but
Yeah.
it's great. They look really good. They're cute.
That's interesting.
Right, dog?
Shoot. Okay.
All right, so we're going to continue with the lesson, and in this week's lesson, we're going to talk about the initial stage of the group. I'm going to go over the learning objectives and give you a brief introduction, and then I'm going to talk to you about the various components of the initial stage of the group, and then the various roles that you have as a leader and a member. All right, so here we go. So one of the learning objectives is to identify and define the key characteristics of the group during the initial stage. You also are going to gain knowledge about how to deal with conflict early in the group, examine a framework for effectively establishing trust among members and the group leader. We're going to
be so for real, last year was kind of a lot for me. I was just feeling kind of like burned out and stuck. At some points, I struggled to see things getting better. So I made a hard decision to take a step back from some things and to just really work on my mental health. And a huge part of that for me has been therapy. At first, the idea of adding something into my schedule sounded a little overwhelming, but trust me when I say therapy can make a huge impact on your mental health. There's something about carving out space and time for yourself to sit and unpack and vent and talk to a therapist and reassess and realign with what you're passionate about, set boundaries and track all of those things. It's just so important. I have loved using BetterHelp. First off, they're fully online, which is just super convenient and super flexible, and I feel more comfortable being in my own home. Finding a therapist is kind of like finding a relationship. You have to find somebody you feel comfortable talking with, that communicates similarly to you, that you can just like vibe with. And BetterHelp has a network of over 30,000 licensed therapists on their platform. All of them have different backgrounds, focuses, specialties. I also really appreciate that they let you change therapists without any sort of fee. I actually changed therapists like 3 or 4 times when I was trying to find somebody I liked. Your present does not define your possibilities. Anytime is an okay time to start making positive change. Consider trying therapy with BetterHelp.
also talk about how to assist members in defining their own personal goals for group participation. In this one, you want to ask people, okay, the topic of this group is XYZ, but at the end of this group process, what are you hoping to get out of it? So after, let's say, the 12 weeks are done, or the 15 weeks are done, what are you hoping to get out of this group experience? And you ask them to share their experience. You want to make sure that it's SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. So make sure that you cover that with each person and shape their goals. You're going to discuss the therapeutic factors and how they contribute to group effectiveness. We'll also understand some research findings related to therapeutic relationships. We'll talk about guidelines for getting the most out of the group experience, issues that face co-leaders during the initial stage, and how to open and close sessions. All right. So by introduction, chapter 6 in the group therapy book describes the characteristics and elements of a group process that are most pertinent when a group begins. Things like orientation exploration are the major processes that occur in the initial stage of group development. So orientation is getting people familiar with what's going to happen, whether it be group structure, group process, rules and responsibilities. These are all part of the orientation process. And exploration, trying to figure oneself out, figure out where one fits within the larger group, is also important. Now, keep an eye out for people who are reluctant to self-discllose. That's common. A reluctance to self-disclose or a resistance might come from a hidden agenda. Now, it's not always a hidden agenda, and I'll explain what that is in a minute. But self-disclosure is important for the openness and growth.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm in the room, whatever you had going on.
No, I'm playing the initial stage of the group. This guy has like the best group counseling stuff, like here, his understanding psychology, and then all of his videos on groups, because he wrote the book on groups. That's why I think it's good. And then if you search, actually, I think
what he doing counseling?
he is in charge of like all kinds of, maybe he is just psychology though. So group counseling, basics of group counseling, stages working with kids, teens, and college students. That one? Okay. Yeah. All right. It may put you to sleep.
I mean, I'm interested in the topic.
Right.
All right. So we're going to get started, and we're going to talk today a little bit about providing therapy for children, adolescents, and how to apply this to the school system. The vast majority of it will be related to K to 12, but I did have a slide on the counseling center. So we're going to talk about children, adolescents, and the school process. So this will be
Karen Johnson Jordan's internship
of our special populations talk.
That's good.
Right. So without further ado, let me share my screen.
I need to kind of.
If you go to it next year, you gotta do it in the fall and the spring.
Yeah.
You want to go see if she's here?
Our first learning objective is to describe the various types of groups and considerations that affect running groups.
I think so. Let's go check, because that, like, for real.
Should I bring my computer?
You can.
Would that explain?
Yeah, she'll want you to like get set up. Well, I guess I'll keep playing this. That's what we do. Okay.
So we're conducting groups in school settings. We'll discuss things like recruiting, screening, selecting participants. We'll talk about various guidelines and best practices when running groups with children and adolescents. We'll talk a little bit about the various therapeutic factors linked to play therapy and how it's applied to children and adolescents. We'll talk about developmental themes in adolescence. Most of it will be grounded in Ericksonian work and the concept of the identity crisis and how that affects teenagers. Then we'll discuss the various challenges you might experience when running groups with adolescents, guidelines for helping adolescents deal with anger and conflict, which is fairly common in adolescence. We'll talk briefly about structure of groups in counseling centers and schools. So, this lecture provides a general format. It can be applied in many different ways. The first two are very concrete and clear cut. So, discussing how to apply groups to children, adolescents, that's pretty clear cut. The application to counseling centers and university centers, that's fairly clear cut. It'll be covered. But these principles can be applied to private practices or community mental health centers, whether they be public or private. So, in general, when we run a group, we put an emphasis on prevention and intervention. When we talk about prevention, what we're really talking about here is primary prevention. And if you've taken a psychopathology course, you've probably heard of primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention. Well, primary prevention is to address an issue before it occurs. It's an issue that you can anticipate, and you address it before it becomes a problem. Whereas secondary and tertiary prevention are more or less intervention strategies once the problem has emerged. So the intervention, an intervention can happen in an early stage of development. So you can address drugs and alcohol in a group setting before kids are using drugs, or when they first start using drugs, or after they've developed a substance use disorder and it's interfered with their life. So tertiary prevention is after it's become a significant problem. Now, when we run groups, we want to target before it occurs or along that pathway, early stages or later stage, in a way to promote student development, healthy functioning, and help them navigate their activities of daily living. What we find is that smaller groups are incredibly important when working in school settings. And I know I've talked to you about 8 to 12 being the range of acceptability for groups, but when it comes to school, especially in early childhood, middle childhood, and adolescence, you might consider 6 to 8, which is smaller than a traditional group, but that also gives each person more space to participate. So we see research suggest that smaller groups are better. We also want to make sure that the groups are doing what they're supposed to, which is to help develop as a full functioning person. And that includes their physical domain, their cognitive domain, and their socio-emotional domain. So you want to make sure that it helps the full person. Now, I'll give you an example where we've seen a lot of research. When working with children on the autism spectrum,
not really big into committing to things. I usually stop binging the show halfway through the first episode. I mean, remember when my hair...
If a child is not in a mainstream setting or classroom, it's not uncommon for them to have a 6-to-1 ratio. That's 6 kids to 1 teacher, right? Or an 8-to-1 ratio. And you might ask yourself, well, why not the 25 kids that are in a standard classroom? Well, it's the same principle. Smaller groups results in more individualized attention, and that results in better outcomes. So That's important. Now, group settings or group therapy in school settings, better yet, tend to be brief, highly structured, whether it be through a psychoeducational or cognitive behavioral orientation. They tend to be very problem and solution focused. So you might remember earlier in this semester I talked about solution focused brief therapy, right? The group itself tends to be more homogeneous.
Nice.
So the more similarity
See,
helps
you're not
the
just on
therapeutic
time,
alliance,
which is what you wanna
especially if you're on.
Because if you're doing, if you're working on working with kids
Mhm.
and you're not part of the Great Minds, so there is a stipend. Did she seem anxious about it or nervous, or she's like, cool, here it is?
Yeah, she's like, oh, here it is.
Because there's only one other person that I know of doing it, right?
Jay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And
She's the one who told me about it.
right, yeah. And so like there's money. You also could do it and they pay for your graduate school.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That's good.
So you can do it while in graduate school. I had so many students do that in graduate school. If that's what you want to do is graduate school.
Yes.
Okay. So you would apply in November too to grad school.
Yes.
How's the application look?
It's a bit lengthy.
Right.
But
I mean, they'll do like all the background checks and everything necessary.
But yeah, it's a volunteer community service experience, and I can't remember the last time I did it. So, what's something I could do?
You're saying like you haven't volunteered for anything or worked anywhere?
I mean, I work
Yeah, just put that down. That's okay.
at the because I work at Primrose Schools, Beef Creek.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's volunteer work.
How much do you get paid? I mean, sometimes it's half volunteer, half paid.
It's a job.
Right. If you don't have volunteer stuff, you don't, and that's okay. Like you could put stuff you do here, or just you've helped out somewhere, like at a basketball game or
Okay, yeah.
SGA or I don't know. I'm trying to think of the stuff that people, you know.
I worked at a basketball game before. Like,
It's not at the end of the world if you don't have volunteer stuff.
okay.
You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, you try to put down every single thing you've ever seen or looked at. Oh, hello. They didn't tell me there was class. Who's they? That's what I want to know.
Who? They or they?
Jada.
Let me see who in there, because
Ariana and Jada.
people don't even be wanting to come.
Because they were texting me this morning, like, well, there's like a fire truck. I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm on my
Yeah,
way.
because I was there. But
Right. Yeah. That's hilarious. She's calling you.
I'm weak. Jay.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I'm in class.
Oh. Everybody's like, there's a fire truck.
It was.
No, I know that.
They didn't let us.
I said if anything's canceled.
He
Yes.
said she'll be here next week.
She wants help on the
Okay, your hair look
application.
cute. She's not even here. Ain't you in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, her. Yeah, she.
so she's not even on that.
Are you on my? Did you say Jada on here? Hey, people.
Jada on there. No, I was gonna join, but like it's my birthday and like
Dude, it's the secretary's birthday.
Who's the secretary?
Perdomo's. It's Perdomo's.
Oh, happy birthday, y'all.
I wonder why it's always
Happy
fucked up
birthday.
here.
It's her birthday today.
I did not do
Happy
that.
birthday. I was
Happy
just going to
birthday.
ask Michaela when it was because I knew it was coming up.
I did not.
I'm like, she's not here today.
Who did that? I did not do that. I
Did
swear.
you do that?
No.
Yes. Look, you. Look at us. We had.
Yeah, it's your birthday, dude. Tell us how you
And
were.
she said happy birthday.
Tell us how you were conceived and born.
That's not. We don't want to think about that, Trout.
Right. Well, it would have been October.
Oh.
September.
He said it was good in October.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
Homecoming? Were you conceived at homecoming?
When is mine? It's always December.
March.
I just don't want to be a Valentine's Day baby.
Oh, you could have been.
No. December 30th.
It had to be like what's the month before August? In July. August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April.
Right. That's funny though. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
September,
Yes. Come on, Aries.
So can you help her with this application? Ask her about that application.
Oh yeah, I just went to Miss Karen class and she gave me the application. Finally.
Yeah.
You know what's so crazy? I still got mine. I just never filled it out. I ain't gonna lie.
We
What?
can get it. I mean, we got time, don't we? But still, we gotta get it.
I thought you were already accepted and everything. That's hilarious.
No. Tell her, like, I already, like, down here, the people down here already accepted me, though. So that's probably why.
Oh, she just didn't go through the. I get what you're saying. It's
Okay.
already put in play.
Yeah, so that's probably why I lagged to do that part, because I already had it down here. So I'm like, oh.
Like you are already accepted type shit.
So, like, I didn't think y'all still wanted me to do that.
But this, they talking about we gotta, write a paper for real. So they might need this. Cause look, it's a personal statement. What is your understanding and duties and responsibilities of a public child welfare worker? What is child welfare and child protective services that attract you in the field? What areas of public child welfare? Answer what do
Uh-oh.
yes. Include typewritten personal statement and case assessment on separate pages with the application.
Like, so like, even though I'm already secured out here, y'all still want me to do that? Like, that just seems like a lot.
You guys always say that though, don't you?
Case assessment. The Smith family consists of.
It was a little too easy at first.
This is real lengthy. I'm not even gonna lie. It's okay, cause we gon' it's worth it.
I overdid it close today.
Cause even the paper thick itself, like
That's hilarious. She ain't stressed.
no for real. Cause she ain't. That's why I was like a little whatever. Cause I talked to her, but I still never moved forward with what's going on. But Charles, ooh, what's that, a fly?
Tell them
Oh,
they finally sent us the things to pay for the honor society.
They did. So you just swipe a card, and then she sends you your PIN and all that shit, and then we have a
Yeah,
ceremony.
no, I gotta pay. You ain't getting it till tomorrow. Today my birthday. I'm not spending it over.
Yes.
So they did send it to all of you, or God, I can't remember who.
Just say my name on it.
Right? Yeah, she's invoiced.
So they probably did send it to everybody.
In the past, they wanted you all to write a check, and I said that's dumb, and I told them to do this so you could swipe a card.
What is it? It's
$30 to join the honor society.
Okay.
Does anybody have checks anymore? Even for real?
They barely be trying to take checks in the
The only time
financial place.
the only time I really had to check is when I passed.
No. What was I about to say?